The Oscars for the year 2008 are history, and the night belonged to Slumdog Millionaire. The film was the evening's odds-on favorite to win big, and in fact, for most nominees, this was a very good night indeed to be the favorite. Jay Fernandez and Steve Zeitchik discussed the evening.
Oscars 2009. The most surprising thing about it was that there really weren't many surprises. Maybe the only semi-surprise, Sean Penn, Best Actor.
Although you kind of got the feeling as the evening went on that the wrestler wasn't really getting the love and Milk was. Maybe Penn was going to win it. But you're exactly right. It was more of a coronation in many ways than a suspenseful award show. Slumdog picking up 8 out of 9 awards in 8 out of 9 categories, pretty much as we expected.
Right, and the only time it really didn't win was when it was up against itself, an original song.
And I thought they were going to find a way to give it to both songs for Slumdog. If voters would do it for any movie, they would for Slumdog.
Yeah, this was just the ultimate culmination to have gone from almost not getting released to Best Picture. Obviously deserving, but just what a, it really was a surprise.
Just amazing like that, you know, something, the bringing together of things which are just so unlikely, and it's impossible to imagine what they think of coming here for tonight. You know, you talk to them, but you can't really imagine what it must feel like. It must be extraordinary, really. It's lovely to have brought them together, really, and it makes tonight deeply special for us because we tried to make the film as a family unit, everybody. And to have them all here makes it feel, tonight feels like family really, rather than individual or, you know, so we're very pleased.
It's easy to forget, given how much of a surprise it was coming in. It now seems like a favorite or a front runner, but if you kind of go back to August when Searchlight picked up the film, if you had sort of fast forwarded to this period and said, well, this is where we'd be standing, this is what we'd be talking about, people would have said, you know, you've lost your mind.
Still, when it got Best Picture, there's still part of it's like, how did that happen? How did they get it? Even though we all expected it to happen. Yeah.
Jamal Malik, you're absolutely right!
This is disgusting. Where did you get this?
Most pundits were not surprised at Kate Winslet's win for Best Actress, except perhaps for Kate Winslet herself. In fact, the actress had even practiced her losing face.
You've no idea how well I practiced that face. It was a good face. And I practiced it quite considerably, actually. Oh yeah, you get good at practicing that face. It's wonderful.
Let's talk about a slight surprise in the acting front. I mean, a lot of people said it was 50-50 between Meryl Streep, 15-time nominee, Kate Winslet, 6-time nominee. Winslet, of course, never having won until tonight. Did that surprise you a little bit? Did you think Streep might pull it out?
I wasn't surprised. She got the BAFTA, she got the Globe. She's like the next Streep, really.
There's a passing of the baton tonight, I felt, between Streep and Winslet.
Streep doesn't need another one, and I think the voters just felt like she's deserved it for half a dozen roles already. It's her year.
Kill the Batman.
Even less of a surprise than Slumdog Millionaire was Heath Ledger. Of course, the only real surprise tonight we had was who was going to accept it. It had been Chris Nolan, the director of The Dark Knight before. It had been other actors. We wondered if it would be the Ledger family. It was. That, to me, was the most interesting, poignant, and in some ways even unexpected moment because you didn't know how it was going to come off, what they were going to say. I kind of liked the way that played out tonight.
Yeah, right, and bringing in his and Michelle Williams' daughter, Matilda, that she's going to own the Oscar when she turns 18. And then backstage, his sister talked about how they all sort of felt like Oscar might be in his future.
When he came home for Christmas a year ago, he had been sending me, you know, shots and bits and pieces from the film, and he hadn't seen it, I hadn't seen it, no one had really seen it, but he knew, and I said to him, I have a feeling this is it for you. You're gonna get a nomination for this, you know, for the Academy. And he just looked at me and smiled. So he knew.
The final supporting and acting category we haven't talked about is Penelope Cruz. Not really a surprise either. Vicky Cristina Barcelona, kind of a fan favorite, and she, of course, was here a couple of years ago for Voltaire. That to me also seemed like a coronation more than a real win.
A lot like Winslet, and she actually put a really fine point on it by using her acceptance speech. I mean, she thanked Woody Allen, but she spent a more emotional moment to thank Almodovar, who basically gave her a career and gave her all these great roles. So that really put a fine point in the idea that this was the momentum of this was why she got the Oscar when she did now.
This is our lives we're fighting for.
interesting race that I think a lot of people thought was really the last bastion of drama for this Oscars. Would Sean Penn pull it out over Mickey Rourke? Rourke had given a series of sort of dazzling and jaw-dropping speeches. Sid Ganis must have been sweating bullets, wondering what happens if he gets up there.
Well, you wonder if he doctored the ballots just to avoid the whole.
We're not alleging that, but
No,
it was
of course
interesting
not.
to see Penn sort of usurp what Rourke had kind of grabbed over the last couple of weeks, and then sort of you had Penn almost acknowledging, oh, he's a brother, he's a friend of mine. I think there was a little bit of a feud, a little bit of a rivalry going on here.
Sean Penn has a reputation for being outspoken, and this night was no exception. Penn won Best Actor for his portrayal of gay rights activist and politician Harvey Milk, and he had this to say to those who oppose gay rights.
I tell them to turn in their hate card and find their better self. You know, I think that these are largely taught limitations and ignorances, this kind of thing, and it's very sad in a way because it's a demonstration of such cowardice, emotional cowardice.
Shouldn't you be at a hairdressing convention?
Penn, for all his rocking of the boat around the world and sort of making people uncomfortable, when it comes to acting honors at the Oscars, that role, what he did in that role was unbelievable, and people recognized it for such. So in that sense, I think this is exactly when and where Sean Penn gets recognition for just the level that he's working.
But isn't that what made it such a compelling story? You had a favored son and a prodigal son, and generally the favored son is going to win in Hollywood, but for a brief moment there, and certainly at the Spirits yesterday,
feel like it was possible.
It looked like the prodigal son might pull it out. That was the Slumdog Millionaire victory party tonight, and I'm sure there'll be more partying to come.
We're going to go try to borrow some money from the little Slumdog kids.
Apparently they're flush with cash now, and they look a lot sharper in their tuxes than we do in ours. So we look forward to seeing you next year at the Oscars. Steve Zeitchik with the Hollywood Reporter.
Jay Fernandez.